Hi everyone. So today we have this fourth session, which is about the cryptographic solutions, right? So we'll be discussing the brief about the cryptographic solutions, and this is all you need to know from the exam point of view. This is more than sufficient. For knowledge purpose, you can always go into deep study. You can find a lot of videos there about all cryptographic solutions, but don't waste your time. If you don't waste your time just to clear this exam. Just clear this exam. It does not need deep study, but yes, gaining the knowledge, gaining deeper information about cryptographic solutions, there is no end. You can always kind of go deep when you're trying to gain that knowledge. Let's come back to the exam preparation. So public key infrastructure, so PKI, in case you see this in abbreviated form in your exam, it stands for public key infrastructure. So first about cryptographic. So what is cryptography? Cryptography is is when you want to hide something from someone. If you have worked in Microsoft Excel, you might have used the encrypted processor encryption there. So you also kind of can encrypt it. You can hide the data from whoever you want to, and there are different ways of doing it. And same is the kind of concept in the entire IT IT solutions. So we have two kinds of keys when it comes to cryptography, and one is public key and one is private key. So public key is something when something is being encrypted. So public key is used to decrypt it, right? So public key can be with the person who is doing encryption, or probably doing decryption as well. But the private key remains only with the one person who always encrypts the data. Private key is always used to encrypt the data. It's not used to decrypt the data. So that's important. And public key, we call it as symmetric solution. Symmetric means when the same key is used for encryption and decryption, that's called as symmetric, or we use public key for that. But when it is asymmetric solution, means two keys are being used, obviously the second key is private key. Private key helps you to encrypt the data, that means to lock the data actually, and public key helps you to decrypt or unlock the document. So asymmetric solution is used when it's highly confidential, highly secretive document, and you just want to make sure, you just want to be sure enough to protect the data from the threat actors. So clear. So that's all. I mean, as I told you, that's all you need to know from the public key and private key perspective. Yeah, so next concept that we're talking about is key escrow. Key escrow is something, you see, sometimes there can be, due to legal reasons or due to some other reasons, you may end up losing the key. You may lose the key, private key. You may lose the private key. So key escrow concept has been put forward so that we deposit or we save this key with a third party, with a trusted third party. Obviously, the third party has to be a trusted entity, so we save it with them, and that's why we call it, and that's what we call key escrow. And obviously when the need arises, we can go and extract the key from them. So that is key escrow. All right, so coming to the next point, that is about encryption, level of encryption. Full disk encryption, when we say full, it means complete. Then you're completely encrypting the disk. Like for example, if you have SSD and it's an external SSD and you want to completely encrypt it, there is an option to completely encrypt it. You want to partially encrypt it, certain parts of it, you can always do that. And if you want to just encrypt some file, some database, some record, some folder, something like that, so that also option is available as well. So it's basically it's a full, whether it's a full part, it's a half, it's a quarter, or it's probably lower than that. So that's how you can understand the encryption, you know, when it comes to full partial and full partial partition or file database or record encryption. So then transport and communication. So here the transport communication basically means data communication. So secures data as it is transmitted across networks like with HTTPS. So obviously when you are when the data moves across the the communication sites, like for example from the user to the website to something else, through the network, basically throughout the network. So the data which is very valuable to you, which is very important to you, you would like to encrypt that as well, right? So because there are man in the middle attacks are probably what we also call as on path attacks. So those attacks can really get their hands on your important, confidential or secret data, and this can result in huge losses, right? Next one is asymmetric and symmetric. I just told you about asymmetric and symmetric. What exactly is mean? Symmetric, just understand symmetric means same key. Asymmetric means it's not same key. It's two different keys. One is public, one is private. Key exchange, the process of securely exchanging cryptographic keys. That's called as key exchange. Basically, you just want to exchange the keys with someone, want to give you public key to someone else, and making that process secure and seamless. I mean, that's what we call as key exchange. Let me tell you, you never share your private key. You never ever share your private key. It's only the public key that's always being shared. In fact, even if you go to Amazon website, you can and click on the lock which comes in the address bar, you may end up finding a public key for the Amazon website as well. So anyways, algorithms, specific procedures for encrypting and decrypting data. So algorithms basically, they help us with the specific procedures for encrypting and decrypting the data. Examples would be AES. So AES is one of the concept, and basically it stands for Advanced Encryption Standard. So that is right now that is mostly used for encrypting the data. And in the AIS, it is 256-bit one, which is mostly used for encrypting your hard drives and all that. And RSA stands for Reversed Shamir and Edelman. So this was actually first time when the encryption basically was used. So it's no more in kind of use, but as I told you, that advanced encryption standard is what is being used right now. Anyway, so that is algorithms, specific procedures for encrypting and decrypting data. So key length, what should be the key length? Like you encrypt the data with a key. Some people tell it as a password, but then it's not really a password. It is in the encryption field, it's called as a key. So, but yeah, I mean, it's almost the same understanding. It's the same understanding. It's not a different understanding. So key length, obviously, if the key is longer, even if you log into your computer to Windows operating system, you enter the password. If the password is longer, it takes someone else to crack it. It takes a lot of time, and probably it's impossible at times. But if it's a shorter one, then there is a possibility that someone would easily crack it. So key length, the more longer the key is, harder it is to crack. So, but also potentially slower in operations. Tools. First tool that we are going to discuss in encryption. So when you are encrypting, so it's about it's a TPM. The first that we get to see is TPM, and just give me a second. I had something written about it. All right. TPM is basically Trusted Platform Module. It's a trusted platform module. Basically, it's a hard drive disk encryption, right? Hard drive is encrypted here. It's not the software which is kind of encrypted or any application, but the hard drive, the hardware part of it is basically encrypted. So a specialized hardware component designed to secure hardware by integrating cryptographic keys into devices. So here we are integrating cryptographic keys into devices. So with the help of TPM, which stands for Trusted Platform Module. TPM is a hardware chip. It's a hardware chip basically. TPM can generate encryption keys, so it has that capability to generate encryption keys. I hope you have heard about BitLocker. If you have, then BitLocker is almost the same, or almost works similarly as the TPM. So that's all about your TPM. Then we have one more concept which is called as HSM. So remember TPM, it's a Trusted Platform Module. Then we have HSM. HSM stands for Hardware Security Module. Hardware Security Module. You have to remember these abbreviations because the questions that would be asked might have these abbreviations. I'm sure a lot of them would have. So please do remember these abbreviations. They're important because if you miss the abbreviation, you may end up misunderstanding the question as well. So hardware security module, HSM. So it's a physical or cloud computing device basically that provides secure cryptographic processing, key generation and storage, encryption and decryption services, right? So physical device, if we go by the description here, it's a physical device that safeguards and manages digital keys, providing hardware level security, right? So it's a digital device, so that safeguards and manages digital keys, providing hardware level security. So HSMs perform cryptographic operation like encryption, decryption, digital sign and key generation within a temper resistant hardware device. So HSM performs all this function. So I repeat, they perform the function cryptographic function basically, which is basically, what is cryptographic function? It's encryption, it's decryption that we know, then digital sign, DigiSign what we call, and key generation. They also generate key within a temper resistant hardware device, right? So both TPM and HSM are related to hardwares. So HSM further has levels. They have further level, like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Level 1 is basically, it is the lowest standard, you would say, generating the keys, doing encryption and decryption. I mean, when as we say that what's hard decryption, encryption, and what is not so hard, or what is simple encryption. So other ways, in other words, what I can divide the HSM is like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, whereas level 1 is the lowest one and level 4 is the highest one. So the more the increase the level, the highest the more safeguard you secure the data. I mean, the encryption levels go basically, they become complex in nature, and that's why we have this distributed into levels. Okay, then we have a next concept which is called as key management system. So systems designed to manage cryptographic keys throughout their life cycle. Key management system, the word indicates these are the systems designed to manage cryptographic keys throughout their life cycle. That's all you need to know. Secure enclave, a hardware based secure storage. It's a hardware based secure storage area in processors, right? Isolating it from the main processor to secure sensitive data. So secure enclave basically, let's take an example. There's an army camp, and within whole army camp is secure for sure. But then within army camp you have certain places, certain bunkers which has to be more secure. Probably there is weaponry there or something which is of critical importance. So you isolate that area. So that's what we can, in this scenario, we can call as secure enclave. So this is something that you need to have more security. You need to provide more security to make sure that this piece is and it is kind of isolated from rest of the facility or whatever, or camp in this. So same concept goes here. So it's a hardware based secure storage in processors, isolating it from the main processor to secure sensitive data. Then we have something called a concept, which is a nice concept. You may get questions on this, which is obfuscation. So obfuscation basically is process of disguising confidential or sensitive data to protect it from unauthorized access. Process of disguising confidential or sensitive data. So you basically hide the sensitive data. So it's basically a process of hiding the sensitive data or the confidential data to protect it from unauthorized access. So sometimes you change the data format in a way that it looks different to threat actors, but then the person that you are sending this data, they get to know what exactly is the message. This is also a concept in a lot of movies. You will see this concept has been given. On the screen it appears something else, but then the message of that is something else. So that concept is what we called as obfuscation. I repeat, process of disguising confidential or sensitive data to protect it from unauthorized access. So let's talk about it. Steganography is the first concept. What happens in steganography? It basically works. There is always a hidden message within an image. So you send an image to someone. Other people see it as image. They see it as image. But then within an image, there is some message which is hidden, which only the person who is it sent, can probably decode it. I mean, he has to decode it. So they are able to decode it, but normal people, it looks like it's an image, but that's not an image. So that is an image, but then there is some data hiding, some code hiding, some information is being hiding there in that image. I look at and you look at as an image, probably a Mona Lisa painting, but then that painting has a hidden message for the person that it is supposed to get that message. So hiding data within other data, for example, embedding a secret message in an image. That's what is steganography. So steganography is pretty simple to remember, because just remember that image looks like image, but there is a hidden data or hidden code within that image. That concept relates to steganography. Clear? Then let's talk about tokenization. What's tokenization? Replacing sensitive data with non-sensitive placeholders, right? That's called as tokenization. So here the sensitive data is replaced by non-sensitive placeholders. So the process of substituting sensitive data with non-sensitive equivalents, known as tokens. Credit card number is there. You change some of the data, some of the credit card number with some nonsense thing, right? So there is a credit card number of 16 digit. In between some of the digits, some places you change and you replace that with some non-sensitive thing. And so those elements, data elements, whether it is digi elements or probably it's alphanumeric or whatever it is, so those are called as token, and that's why this process is called as tokenization. Okay. primary purpose is to safeguard the sensitive data. Of course, that's why tokenization is being used. Data substitution. In tokenization, sensitive data elements like credit card number, as I said, is replaced within a randomly generated string of characters called tokens, right? To put it in a different perspective or in other way, like per your understanding. The actual sensitive data is securely stored in a centralized location, and token serves as a reference or pointer to this data. Now the point is, if I have changed the credit card number, I mean not all of the 16 digit, for example, say out of 16, 8 I have changed. But the point is, how would I know, okay, what was it previously? You know, I have changed. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Out of that 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 15 I have changed. Now the point is, how would I know? Now the point here is, those non-sensitive placeholders are non-sensitive placeholders, when it is received and it is decoded, they will already be located somewhere on some location, which will help you later on, okay, what was actually this as a replacement for. For example, number 2 was replaced by letter Z, or number 5 was replaced by number say number 9, correct? So they have this already set up, so they can take this non-sensitive things and go and decode the message, and they will arrive at the right number of the credit card in this case, right? So that's about data. So sorry, that's about tokenization. Very important one, tokenization. So let's move to the next concept, which is called as data masking. Now the point is, when you talk about masking, what do you mean? Obviously you mean hiding, right? In English, masking, it's hiding, and masking is also to put on the mask. That's a different thing. I mean, you still hide. I mean, even if you put the mask there, you're still hiding something, right? It's not just because of corona someone will put on the mask, or probably because of cold and all. It can be, when the bad elements, they go and attack a bank, they put on mask so that they are not identified. Same thing is here, same concept. Concealing specific data within a database, making it inaccessible to unauthorized users. So basically hiding the data within a database, so making it inaccessible to unauthorized users. So basically this process is done to hide the data. Now what's the difference between the three? We read about obfuscation. What's the difference between the three? It's pretty simple. Stenography, remember image. Tokenization, remember token. Something is being replaced by something non-serious. And data masking, you hide. You don't replace here, right? You don't code any message in an image. You simply hide the data. I have a credit card number. It's 16 digit. I end up hiding 11 of those, right? So that's called as data masking. Now we are at a concept, so which is called as hashing, and this is one of the great concepts when it comes to encryption and decryption. So hashing converts data into fixed size string, ensuring data integrity. So when you hash a data, hashing is a process. When you hash it, it converts that data into the fixed string size, right? And there are online tools available to hash things, hash data. Irrespective of the data, the size of data, the size of hashing key will never change. It's always fixed. That's what it actually is saying, right? So size of hash key remains same irrespective of the length of the password key. So you hash a key, you do the hashing, you put a key say of 25 digits, the hash will return you say for example 32 characters. If you use 100 length, 100 size of key, it will still return you 32 hashing string. The size won't change. Anything you change within the key, it is supposed to change the entire key. It's not that you change a particular thing and hashing it changes one of the characters in the hashing key. No, it changes the entire key. So that's what hashing works. And why is hashing used? It's used to make sure data is not fiddled with, basically data integrity. That's why I said, if you change one character, if you just change one character, it will change the entire key. It will change the entire key, so which will tell the recipient person that there was some fiddling with the data. Input of any length is converted into fixed size of string of text using hash. A small change, even a single letter, changes the sequence of the entire key, as I told you. Same input produces same output key. Okay, so this can be a drawback, that same input, every time you input something, if it is pretty same, it will give you the same hashing key. It won't give you a different key. Key cannot produce the text you input earlier to produce the same key. Okay, so it doesn't work basically other way around. So if you input the hashing key, it will not give you the text that you had input earlier. So it basically works, it's a one-way traffic, right? It doesn't work the other way around, that you use the hashing key and then it gives the text that you entered. No, it doesn't work. It works like you enter the text, you hash it, it gives a fixed string of a key of a password types. So which is a fixed strength. That's how it works. If you want to do it vice versa, it doesn't work by that way. Right. So that is about about hashing. Hashing, there is algorithm, and the important algorithm that is used for hashing is SHA, which is secure hash algorithm. So it's a series of government hash function standard promoted by NIST. It is used to produce digital signatures, digital certificates, right? Digital signatures and digital certificates. They also use SHA, secure hash algorithm, to produce one. SHS, which is secure hash algorithm, is also known as Federal Information Processing Standard, FIPS 180, FIPS 180. Right. So the important SHA which is mostly used is SHA 256, which processes 512-bit blocks to produce a 256-bit message digest. So that's about hashing. So I think that's enough information. Let's talk about salting. What's salting? Nice concept. If you want to complicate your key, salting is the answer to that. Alright. So random data added before hashing to ensure the same input produces different output. Right. As I told you, in hashing, the same text always produces the same hashing key. Now, if you want to ensure that it does not produce, so what's the way out? The only way out is the actual text that you have, leave it there, but then have it prefixed with some kind of a random data which you know, so that the key which gets produced is different. Because salting, only you know what characters have been added as a prefix to the text. A lot of people might have text, but salting would be only with one person, or probably with a limited person. So just to ensure that it doesn't produce the same output next time, same hashing key next time, salting is the answer. I hope you understand. Now next is digital signatures. Very important when you work online, when you log into e-commerce sites and you do the shopping like Amazon, Flipkart, GoDaddy and whatever. So digital signatures actually confirm the authenticity of a digital document or message. Now there is a digital document sent, or in other way around, if you talk about the paperwork, so if there's a paperwork being done, so you always have the signatures of some commissioner, some authority which confirms, okay, this document is legal, this is binding or something like that. In the e-world, electronic world, what we use is digital signature to make sure that what is being sent or what is being received is valid, right? And what denotes that validity is the digital signatures. That's the concept of digital signatures. A cryptographic technique used, basically this is a cryptographic technique, and that's why it's under cryptography. It's a cryptographic technique used to validate the authenticity and integrity of a message, software or digital document. Now even if you download some software, make sure you check the digital signatures of that. So if it belongs to that company, for example, if it is MS Office, make sure that it has a signature of Microsoft. If it is ChatGPT, make sure it has a signature of OpenAI. If it is like any other application you think of, and make sure that it is from the respective agency, company or whatever, right? So authenticity, integrity and non-repudiation is guaranteed. Digital signatures, what do they guarantee? They guarantee authenticity, they guarantee integrity, and they guarantee non-repudiation, right? Digital signature standard, DSS, digital signature standard, right, developed by the US National Security Agency, NSA, US National Security Agency. So digital signature standard, there is a standard which is called as digital signature standard. It is developed by NSA, which is National Security Agency. Well, this information I'm giving you more so that you kind of relate. Otherwise, knowing what digital signature is, that's what is going to come into your exam, and that's why I have not written what I'm speaking. There is a lot of things are there which are not written there, because that's not important. I mean, from the exam point of view, but from knowledge point of view, yes. So DSS was put forward by NST in 1994. It uses SHA-2. What does SHA mean? Secure hash algorithm. It uses SHA, SHA-2 and SHA-3 with RSA or DSA or ECDSA. So, for example, if I'm sending something, I'm sending a plain text. This plain text, by the help of SHA or hash algorithm, gets converted into a message digest, right? Then it is encrypted by the sender private key. Then we get digital signatures generated. Finally, the receiver receives the message which is digitally signed. This is how this process works. Maybe we can go back and repeat whatever I just said. You probably may understand. Even if you don't worry. So once the sender once the receiver receives the the message, he uses the public key to decrypt the data. Then the hash text which is hashed is matched. So that's about digital signatures. Key stretching makes keys resistant to brute force attacks by making the key derivation process more computationally intensive. So brute force attack, you might have heard about it. It's basically, say for example, I am trying to get into your system by breaking your password, system password, and I'm trying all the combinations possible. That is called as brute force. Using all force to kind of get into your system, hack your systems. So key stretching is basically makes keys resistant. So it makes keys resistant to brute force, any such attack, which I explained just now, by making the key derivation process more computationally intensive. Making the key process more intensive is what will save you from the brute force attacks. Blockchain is basically a technology which is also used in the cryptography, in the cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is used the blockchain technology. You'll hardly get a question out of this in your CompTIA. I'm pretty sure about it. You won't see a question from this, but it's important to know what is blockchain. So it's a distributed, decentralized ledgers that use cryptographic solutions to ensure data integrity. So it's a kind of a blockchain technology, and that's why you have these cryptocurrencies being in the market. They being sold, they being bought. You can buy part of cryptocurrency as well. You don't need to buy just one Bitcoin, for example. You can buy point something. So this all is it works on the code. It does work on the codes. So that is about blockchain technology. I think that's enough. If this is a massive topic, to be honest, and this very confusing topic, so I would leave it there and rather move to the next one. Open public ledger, transparent, openly accessible ledger where all transactions are visible. Open public ledger. When I say open, when I say public, when I say ledger, we understand it's open to whom? Public. What is open to public? It's a ledger, right? It's a book of transactions which public can see. So it's transparent, it's openly accessible ledger where all transactions are visible. Certificates. Yeah. So what are the certificates? We spoke about certificates like digital certificates and all. Let's talk about something related to certificates. First one is like who issues these certificates. It's called a certification authority or certificate authorities, CA. Organizations that issue digital certifications or certificates, so they are called, those we can relate to certificate authorities, like DigiCert, like GoDaddy, and so on and so forth, right? Then we have CRLs. This site will have all the certificates which are revoked. Revoked certificates, if you want to check which are the certificates that have been of late revoked, you can go to this site. CRL stands for Certificate Revocation List. Certificate Revocation List. It stands for that. So you can go and check if any certificate has been revoked. So for example, you get into a site, you see they have a certificate, but then also you can just check if the certificate is still active or it has been revoked by the certificate issuing authority, which we just spoke about, like DigiCert, GoDaddy, and there are many others. You can also use your private certification, like you certifying your, but in the market it has no takers. It has no takers because you certifying yourself does not make sense. It's called as a private certificate. It doesn't make sense, and that's why we have certain authorities which provide these certificates. Then we have one more concept, OCSP. What is OCSP? It's an online certificate status protocol. So protocol to obtain the revocation status of a certificate in real time. So if you want to get the certification status in real time, so it's a real time, right? You right now want to get this latest status, so you should be going to this site, OCSP. which is online certificate status protocol. Then we have self-signed third party. I was just talking about it. Certificates that are signed by the owner versus a trusted third party. No takers, doesn't work. Then root of trust. Starting point in a security domain from which other security mechanisms derive. So root of trust. It is the starting point in a security domain from which other security mechanisms derive. So that's called as root of trust. Then we have one more concept. It's called as CSR generation. A request sent from an applicant to a CA to get a digital identity certificate. That's called as CSR generation. When you basically need a digi certificate, you will request this. CSR stands for certificate signing request. Certificate signing request. So that's what it stands for. You request basically a certificate from a third party like DigiCert or anyone. Wildcard, certificates for securing domain, and it is subdomain. So wildcards, these are certificates which are used for securing the domain name, and it is subdomains. Importance: the digital world has inherent vulnerabilities. Cryptographic solutions play a critical role in defending against breaches, ensuring confidentiality and maintaining trust. Without them, data in transit could be intercepted and read. Authenticity of data and source could be verified. Sensitive information would be vulnerable at rest. Transactions could be altered without detection. So by employing appropriate cryptographic measures, organizations can detect data, ensure its integrity, and validate its origin, which is essential in today's cyber threat landscape. And this is basically the importance of cryptographic solutions. I hope you enjoyed this session. I will see you in the next session. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye bye.